it's crazy.
Isn't that weird?
Very powerful. I saw it in the picture. I saw it.
These chairs have been ossified.
Yeah, I'm gonna take these. I'm just saying.
They did not have that color or that cushion.
I know.
Make it part of
It's all the process.
It's all the process. Tell me about your use of La Vie en Rose in the beginning and then Summertime, the role of early jazz in the way you put it as a soundtrack, as the heart, kind of like you take a little surfboard into the film with that and then surf out with Gershwin. What was the role of that? Was that intentional or was
Yeah, absolutely. So every single part of this film is directly connected to Chicago. So like Mavis Staples, like if you imagine like Kanye West used that sample, right? So if you could imagine gospel, blues, etc., being this thing that came from the Great Migration. So Eric Williams, who is a direct descendant of the Great Migration, is connected to the fact that like that music from Mavis Staples, etc., came from that. So that's the reason why I wanted this film to be told in that space. So like house music being something that was created in Chicago, gospel music being something that was created in Chicago, all of those things I just wanted to touch on. So just kind of having this entire film that is all of these layers of what Chicago is, and what I've learned that Chicago is, and that's very important to me in that story of the city, as we talked about earlier.
Yes, absolutely. And Dolby, interestingly enough, house music, having gone overseas to London and having become bigger than itself in order to then be a global phenomenon, how does that connect to your creativity and the way you connected to this film and the role that you feel that they may or may not have played in your contributions to it?
Yeah, so in terms of how it connected to me as a Londoner being here, Lonnie and I have talked many times about how Chicago doesn't get enough credit for the things that it was the origin for, whether brownies, spray paint cans, gospel music, Kanye West, whatever it is, right? It doesn't get that credit. Usually when you hear about Chicago, you're usually hearing about the negatives, but what I see when I'm here, and from a place of privilege, granted, I see a very beautiful city with lots of hidden gems, and so we really have talked a number of times about making sure we're doing Chicago justice. We don't want to just hear the negative sides of it. We want it to really be a love letter to the city, and whether music or just the hard-working nature of the inhabitants of Chicago, there's so many different ways you can tap into that. In this particular iteration of the movie, house music was the basis for it, and I'm a huge music fan. I don't know if you guys saw me before. I was even with Cannon's film, which is awesome, by the way. I would just bop into it. I just love music, and I think it's a great way to add to any sort of storytelling you're doing. So when I had the chance to partner with Lonnie on this, because it was really Lonnie's baby, and he asked me to kind of help foster the kid, if I can say it like that. Yeah, I'm spiritual uncle. He tagged me in later on in the game, so it's been a real honor and opportunity to really show Chicago in a much more positive light than it gets usual credit for. So
absolutely, thanks for doing that. We're all a huge proponent of that. That's why we're all here.
Absolutely.
Lonnie, do you want to speak to why you decided to bring Toby on board and how that changed the project as Toby's presence evolved the project forward?
I mean, Toby's on a whole other level. So I met Toby a couple years ago, and when for me, like I've gotten to this point in my life, like with film and things I've done, like just very like singularly, like as an individual. I work with people in these things, and we were speaking to this earlier. We did this podcast earlier that
Chicago Rising show. That's right.
Yeah, that we didn't speak on. Like, I mean, you can tap into earlier, but like my whole thing with Toby is when I met him and saw the work that he does, and just I feel like we're on different sides we're from different sides of the world. So the beauty of mine and Toby's relationship is that just understanding that I'm African American, he's an African, what are they, is it Englander? I don't fucking know. What the fuck is it called? I don't know, really. Is there a name for that? Like,
yeah, we refer to ourselves as Black British, but you
Black
just,
British?
Just call me Toby. That is the experience.
I will not call you just Toby.
Just
Black British.
It's
That's the
all.
whole thing.
I appreciate the term.
I'm like, I don't know.
No,
I thought I was going somewhere with that, but then I was like,
I think you understood something about the Black experience, and that even though we were, brothers from other mothers, we still vibe on a number of different levels. Is that what you were trying to say?
That's what I was going.
You
That's what I was going.
reeled you in with that one.
Yeah. Thanks for this. But the point is like just understanding like the talent that he has. We met in a whole other space, and me understanding the things that the value that he adds just as a human and talents. It's just very important. There's things that I brought him in as a director of photography for the film that changed the way the film looked. I finished this film like a lot sooner than when I met him, and all of this changed after I met him. The outro, which was all Toby, is really fucking awesome, and just the things that we're doing with the film is amazing. So for me, it's just very important to understand that what Toby does is take a concept and an ideology that I understand and turn it into something that can live in the space. So understand that he has that talent where I'm a storyteller, but he can enhance that storytelling. It's very important to what I do. And just the synchronicity of what we're doing is a beautiful thing. So.
How big is the team that it took to make this happen?
Eddie, Juice, who else is there? There's more. I
So there's like 12 people. Yeah.
And then you were mentioning there's more people coming on board now to take this.
Yeah. So
would you like to speak to that a little bit?
Yeah. So we got a few producers on the film. There's Karen Costacopo, Toby's favorite producer. That's an inside joke. I'm sorry. It's not negative. It's just he never remembers her name. So Karen Costacopo, she's the producer of. She's the producer of. There's a Mr. Rogers documentary that was really big. I think it was like "Won't You Be My Neighbor." Is that what it was?
Yes.
Okay. So she did the Little Richard docs. She did "Won't You Be My Neighbor." She also did the Anna Nicole Smith docu-series that's on Netflix. So she produced that. She's our producer for this film, which is really awesome. And myself and Toby, we're really good friends with the entire Save Money crew. I've never been invited to work out with these guys at Soho House. It's probably because I'm such a strong man. They don't want me to come to Soho House and work out with them. But yeah, we got Chance, Vic, Joey Perp, and all those guys as interviews that we're doing. The next interview that we're shooting is the Esther Gates. But just that 12-minute section of this film, overall we're shooting this 111-minute film. So when you think about documentaries, and actually, if you think about film in itself, you have to create this shit and then pitch it to people and sell it to people. We just shot this, y'all saw this, and y'all like, yo, this is decent, you fuck with this, who's lying, what's going on? So we have to create this, understand that we have to make this stuff as it goes, show it to people, and they're like, yo, you know what, we'll give you money for the work that you've done. I've been working on this shit since 2019. Me and Toby have been working on this for about a year and a half. What you saw is a combination of about 2 years. So, you know, it's this process that's insane that you go through, and at the end of the day, like, you just have to have a team and people and a family that you believe in and people that trust you to do these things. So I appreciate the fact that Toby's on board for that.
Toby, and last question before I let you guys go. What is the end goal for the project? What is the ideal, vision for this, and what are the pieces that need to come together to make that happen?
Yeah, a number of moving pieces with this project, as it is the case of all, you know, storytelling of this nature. Again, we use the term love letter to Chicago, but this love letter is being sent to other places, right? American culture being America's biggest export, we want to show that Chicago is on the map as being one of the pioneering cities in so many different ways. And so, for example, house music, its spiritual, well, its actual home being Chicago, its spiritual home being London. So house music being one of the elements of this, we want to take this as almost a ambassadorship to just show, you know, that this is Chicago, come to Chicago. If there's any opportunities to work with, you know, Chicago's tourism board or anything like that to kind of show this is a real place that's worth coming to, we'd love to do that. The whole synergy that Lonnie and I have is about us working with the right people. We've had a number of people come into our paths and not being quite a good fit, and we wish them all the best. But ultimately, you know, if you want to go, we talked about this before, if you want to go fast, go by yourself. If you want to go far, go with other people. I got to shout out Lonnie for, you know, bringing me in as much as he has. It's so easy for people to say, I'm just going to do it by myself and not have that trust. But we don't want to do that. Even last year when we first really collaborated together, our piece was around the art of conversation. It was around not gatekeeping. So if people are interested in working with us and they have the right attitude, we'd love to have people on board. And yeah, we just want to, again, you know, thank LBR for having us up here. Thank you for interviewing us. And just,
we love having you. It's been a pleasure seeing this
love being here. Appreciate
love
it.
letter start. Stay awake, don't fall apart. Let's go have a little break.